Hey guys, C to Eat review. Look at this, it's very formal. Susannah, John, welcome.
Hi.
We're talking breakthrough mental health. So the guys hit me up and said, can you promote this little collaboration with Fleurieu Milk Company? You did it last year, did you do it the year before?
We did it last year, so this is the second year.
Second year, and ex-convenience. You can find 2 bottles of iced coffee for $7 at ex-convenience stores. I said, I'm happy to talk about that. I'm very interested to talk about mental health because it's an issue that's very close to my heart, John. What's my diagnosis? I don't label myself with it because I don't walk around with a label saying I have severe anxiety with comorbid depression and minor agoraphobia. But that is me.
That's you.
And you tackle this, you help tackle it, you both tackle it through breakthrough mental health.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for sharing that.
Oh, no worries.
So generous of you to do so. We feel really in a beautiful space when people feel safe enough to share their stories with us, and we treat every story with that dignity and respect. It's really, really powerful because the lived experience story, if we didn't listen to what people are experiencing and what they're going through in their lives, how do we know where the best research should go? How do we know if we're actually making an impact or a change? So the work that we focus on is around normalising the mental health conversation. Yes. So the campaign works with that beautifully because you get 2 coffees.
Yes.
Because that's a coffee for you and a coffee for your friend, which means you can start the conversation together.
Exactly. You've got the lactose free, you've got the double shot, and you've got the no added sugar one. So there's plenty of that. And it's not male dominated, but this sort of is where the males would sit around and drink iced coffee. And your promotion this year is very focused on the farmers.
Yeah. So we've been working. We've had a beautiful relationship with Fleurieu Milk ever since we set Breakthrough up. They've been a fabulous supporter. And last year we spent some time down on the farm with Jeff and the team, and we were walking through the fields, and it was really powerful having that conversation just in nature. But the conversation was all around how do we break down the stigma that's still there? How do we put our hand up and say it's actually okay not to be okay? It's okay to experience all these things in our lives, but also it's not okay to hold that to yourself anymore and feeling that distress. So how can we tackle and change that? So the campaign was about having a beautiful product, Fleurieu Milk, and I live up in the hills, so Fleurieu Milk's my local milk, which is absolutely beautiful. But that ability for a business also to connect with its workforce, and then how that then connects with that wider farming community. So we know from a state perspective we've been going through an incredible drought, and that's impacted our whole community in many different ways. And so farmers historically have that very stoic let's get on with this, where at the moment they're now putting their hand up and going, well, I'm actually exhausted. I don't know what to do next. So we're trying to build skills and have those connections and those conversations together.
I was thinking about this last night, how I'd chat to you, and I'm thinking farmers have it more difficult, I'd say, just because they're more isolated from everyone. They've got their fields and that, and I'm sure they've got mates and all that around it, but where they are is very isolated, so they wouldn't be able to have that chance to chat to people so much, chat to their mates about it as much. And as you said, it's very
being
stoic.
On your own in a tractor all day, lost in your own thoughts.
And the stigma of farmers must be tough and blah, blah, blah. Would they really talk about it? So that's what really hit me.
It is, and it's that powerful part, isn't it, that, I haven't got time to go off the farm. I actually don't have time to care for myself because there's so much else to do, and then you go from that, what's the next crisis, and then the decisions I'm making. So those high risk decisions about, do I plant this crop? What happens if it doesn't grow again? This is my 3rd year and what have you. So those risk conversations for our farming community are big conversations in comparison to what ours are possibly on a day-to-day basis.
You wouldn't have planned this when the petrol crisis would have come around. You've had this planned up more before, but right now it's never been worse. Well, for farmers, for everyone in general, isn't it? So that's where the problems, I suppose, escalate.
And we've got that part where what we wanted to do is to find that safe space. So the safe space is to stop, to connect with somebody, to also feel confident that you don't actually have to fix it. In my whole career, I've fixed one person and I'm still working on him.
That's lovely.
But also, I have made a lot of time and space where people have felt comfortable to share what was happening in their lives with me. And I think that's power in itself. And most people would talk in that conversation just to hear out loud what's going on, to be validated, to be listened to realise that when you share something really personal, that's enormous, and thank you for doing that, and that must have been really tough to do so. But also checking back in the next day, the power within that, because it then showed you were listening. And that's what I find where someone might just check in, but it's the being there all the time, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I respect Are You OK Day, but it should be every day. You know what I mean? It should be checking on, like I always check on, because I've been here now for about 15 years, but I got here, just knew my wife, no one else.
So when I meet people who are new to Adelaide, I love to just sort of check in on them.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. Just say, hey, are you good? Are you here? Do you want to hang out?
I
I go
relate
do
to that.
reviews.
Yeah.
I go do reviews. So I invite anyone out to my reviews.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, well, make you feel sort of welcome here, because Adelaide's a bit cliquey. Bit cliquey where
We've
people
got
know
two
you.
Brits here.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So how did you get involved in this initiative, this breakthrough mental health?
So I've been here from day one.
Yep.
So I was brought across from health. So
Yep.
I was worked in for SA Health, and I was brought across to explore the opportunity of setting up a foundation from scratch. So you don't often get many chances in your career to do something right from the start.
Yes.
Incredible support from our local community, going out and actually exploring. Was there a need for a research foundation?
Yep.
What would that actually look like? Where should we invest the funds that we generate, and also how to do that?
Yep.
So we've tried to look at ways in which are engaging. They're around connection, they're around education, and then they're around the investment into research. And we focus on research programs with young people around and also depression, and eating disorders, and Indigenous mental health. We have a very strong campaign that's all around that community connectivity, which is around mental health education. So from literacy through to mental health first aid training, through to the challenging conversation of the suicide conversation, and how do you support someone going through that challenge. And then from there, then it's been very much around how do you get people involved.
Yep.
So businesses are incredible. They're
Yep.
looking at alternative ways and how they look around the mental health and well-being of their workplace, and wanting to know more and the skills how to do that. So we've really found a way in which we can connect, we can collaborate, we work very closely with people, but also when times get tough, we're also here. I think that's really important for us and something that we've felt very passionate about as a whole team.
How did you get involved, Susannah?
Well, I find it a privilege to talk about mental health. I've always been in a comms role, and so it's wonderful to work here and actually make a difference and talk about statistics, highlight the areas that need more support. Something like this initiative is an everyday product, something that everyone can use in every day. Buy a drink, start that conversation with a friend, and break down that stigma of mental health. So I like to tell the story. Unfortunately, statistics are growing. It's really important to bring that message out. Sadly, we lose one farmer every 10 days in Australia, which makes this campaign incredibly prevalent. And it's really great to have South Australian brands like BP Convenience Store and Fleurieu Milk that can sort of help fund more mental health workshops for someone like John to go out and support more farmers.
Does it ever get too overwhelming? It just seems, it's never ending.
Absolutely.
Problems of the world just never end. It just someday, if you focus too much on it, it gets so overwhelming, doesn't it?
This is like a really important point you've made, is that mental health affects everybody.
Yeah.
And that there shouldn't be a stigma. You know, I think not everyone breaks their leg.
Yeah.
But everyone has a bad day, and it's about learning how can we help others and empower those to help more people in the communities.
And it's amazing talking to people who not just experience it, but who actually listening to you, how it makes you feel better. Trying to keep it inside, you're fighting a demon. It's so hard, and it's such a. I tried to explain it to my parents. I'm not putting my parents, but when I was in the throes of it, and my parents are going, "Oh, but everything's well. Why are you crying for?" I don't understand. It's like, it's so hard to explain though, until you've gone through it. And I didn't appreciate it until I really went through it. They gave me, I was on some other meds, but they gave me some like Lexapro or something, but suicidal thoughts. I was like, what? And I ring up Beyond Blue and everyone going, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, I full on didn't understand. And I worked at the airport with 300 guys, so you're in the middle of an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
But that's where I felt like I just got to tell them. You've got to tell them that I'm going through this, so just let me go through it, you know what I mean? So that's where I felt it, and people come up to you by themselves just to talk to you about it, and that's where I felt it a bit more easier.
Yeah, I think it's often that first step is the biggest step, but also it can be a small and significant step, so that I'm putting my hand up, or I'm struggling, or no, I'm not feeling okay, but I don't know what to do about it. So I think sometimes when we're having the conversations in lots of different communities, you can have that sense of, wow, how do I problem solve this? But often it is the conversation, it's about the connection, it's about that simple touch, that simple checking in
Yep.
can actually be incredibly powerful. So I think that's what really helps us when we're having our conversations, especially out in the community, just to stop,
Yep.
to hold a safe space,
Yep.
to truly listen.
Yep.
And then the opportunity then to, sometimes it might be, well, where do I go? Because I've just got off the phone with a beautiful family who were wanting to support their son. And all they needed was the opportunity to have this conversation and hear what they're saying out loud, a little bit of navigation, some options, and that whole conversation around hope. My wife says to me that you've made your career sound really, really complex.
Yeah.
And it's not. She said it's based on the 4 H's. So has somebody heard? Somebody been helped? Someone had a hug? Or did you offer somebody hope? And then you're thinking about that, I was like, she's
That's
made
lovely,
38 years sound so simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. But it actually, when I think about that and think about the conversations we've had over that sort of career, been all those touch points.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's where we can really help people, especially at those most complex, challenging times where I feel so alone, that actually, when you see one of your mates struggling like that, don't be scared to go and ask them, and ask the "Are you okay?" question, and then go beyond it. And simple things like, because often people go, "Oh, what happens if they say I don't?" Or most of us will have a terrible day, and someone asks how we are, and we go, "I'm fine." What happens if we say though, "Are you really?" Because I've noticed something different. And all of a sudden it just changes that narrative.
And as you said, it's just breaking down that first initial step where you're not embarrassed or ashamed of it, which a lot of people I'm not going to say, it's misunderstood. And once you break through that barrier, I think it does get easier to chat about it. But as I said, I know I go through it. I get severe travel anxiety. So I'm going to Bali, I think I've upped my meds as I go. But not everyone is married to a psychologist's wife either. So when I was going through the throes of it at home, when it hit at home, and she was, gentle to start with, but when I was in bed, she goes, "Get up, go for a walk. I don't care where you go have your phone with you. The only thing's going to make you feel better is going for a walk." And it's just one of those things. But it's a tough thing, and I should ask, the money raised from this, where does it go to?
So the work we're looking at from a farming perspective is we run a range of different community programs. So one of the programs is called the Mates Meals and Mental Health Dinner, and it's for a wider farming community. So it isn't just about the men; it can be their
everyone,
partners, can be their sort of adult children. That program's around coming together for a meal, and then we take people on a bit of a journey. We talk about the signs and symptoms to look out for. How to have a mental health conversation, what strategies you can actually put into place to actually manage your mental health and well-being. It's woven around actually coming together for a meal, because that meal is that connection. So for some people, might not really say, a farmer might have not left his home or his farm for a bit, all of a sudden come into a room where there's other people having those similar experiences, and you can just see this very subtle conversations and connections take place. We have a number of different guest speakers that have joined us along those journeys. So we've had some local farmers sharing their own stories. And we're very fortunate to have a gentleman called Tom Jonas, who used to be the Port Adelaide captain. Tom shares all around transition and those challenges and those complexities and his beautiful connection. And then we have an incredible mental health advocate, the beautiful bogan Mark Ryan. He's a mental health comedian, and he shares his own narrative through his comedy. And it's the most engaging way in which it connects with that community. So we take people on that whole journey. And Mark often says, the connectivity of him as a bogan and me as an Englishman should not work, but it does, because there's this beautiful blend together, and we've got utmost respect for what.
But you can laugh about it as well, which when you break it down.
Yeah.
As I said, my kids laugh when we travel because they know I have anxiety. It's like, "Are you going to shake again when we travel?" I went, "Yeah," but they go, "Oh, I'll hold your hand on the flight." You know what I mean?
Which is
beautiful. It's lovely. We didn't get to talking about kids with mental health. The statistic of 50% of people are diagnosed between 11 and 14 with mental health issues.
Yeah,
That's huge.
It's serious, and which is why prevention and talking about it in education right from day one is so important. Especially with the younger generation. And social media is making it even worse, the kind of comparison culture. But yes, our job is to fund for more research in this area, because if we can stop and find the solutions at an earlier stage, we're saving in the longevity. But yes, it's a very sobering statistic.
It is
very serious.
And if you could stop it from the starting point, I didn't get diagnosed till 30, you know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was a long time, and
Yeah.
I just thought I was just going crazy, you know,
Yeah.
you're going mind spirals and stuff and just going nuts.
As a parent, I feel like such a responsibility on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Not to, you know, condition my children in a negative way that's
Yes.
going to come out at a later impact.
Yes.
And it's only these conversations today that are making me much more aware,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that comes down to research, you know,
Yeah.
let's go and talk more and
Yeah.
make it, you know.
Is that as simple as having conversations with the kids at the dinner table about how they're feeling, how they go through it? I know teenagers are very closed off. They
Yeah.
don't want to talk much. So how do you go about breaking that down?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think the shared meal and a dinner, that's something that's slipped away.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing, especially in the eating disorders arena, actually having that family meal is very, very powerful. It's around those normalising of patterns of behaviours and communication.
Yeah.
I think having the mental health conversation with your children and exploring that and finding safe ways and safe
Yeah.
language to use and,
Yeah.
and being open, and it's very difficult because as parents we want to fix it,
Yeah.
and our children aren't actually after
Yeah.
the fix sometimes. They're just asking to be heard
Yep.
and feel safe to share that if this is a struggle.
Yep.
So how do we explore that in a different way? But also being there for our children as well. You know,
Yeah.
so those conversations will alter and change throughout.
Yeah.
As you know, we have that period of time when we perhaps lose our children as they're getting their new identity, working out who they are, how they want to be, what they want to sort of achieve, and all those new boundaries they want to test and push, which we all did ourselves.
Yeah.
And then making sure you're there, that if something is uncertain, they can feel safe enough to come and talk
Having a
to you.
conversation in a car is a great one, John. You taught me that, but you know, where you don't have that eye contact, and your child is still in the car. And
We say
has
they're
to
trapped with us, so that they have to listen.
They're locked in, but they can look forward and it
Yeah.
can be safe, can't it? But we're really fortunate. We've got. We have the Little Heroes Professor in Child and Adolescent Mental Health Research,
Yeah.
which is Professor Bridie O'Day, and that's a co-funded position between ourselves and the Little Heroes Foundation, who Fleurieu Milk are a massive supporter of that
fantastic.
foundation as well. Bridie's work is very much around that early intervention, preventative work. She's developed some beautiful pathways. When people are starting to wait to get and see their psychologist, she's actually starting interventions while they're on that waiting list. So we're seeing those alteration change. So when you finally get to see your clinicians, you may be in a very different position than when you first put your hand up to say you were struggling. So that early intervention where it's powerful. Through to the Big Talks for Little People program, which is a primary school mental health program,
so
which
nice.
has been developed by Professor 𝑉𝑿𝑖𝑝 and his team. That's shown, you know, like a 25% reduction in bullying in each of the schools. It's been rolled out into, just been translated into Turkish and Greek, and rolled out by the Turkish government to support their children who were displaced by the earthquakes. And the same impact. It's a beautiful animated program, and it's now exploring how that can be big talks in the sports world, and we're wanting to now develop the next phase, which would be big talks for Indigenous children.
Yeah.
So you've got these different touch points of programs that take place through to then to activations. We're very fortunate. We've got a camp called Overnight, which is an overnight camp, a camp breakthrough with AFL Max. Schools are now really looking at the mental health conversation so much earlier, and I had the privilege of being at a session of the week with 500 young leaders in the primary school world, years 6 and 7. It left me filled with so much hope,
that's good.
because these kids are just like a sponge, and they're coming up with new ideas, and they were providing information to me, which I was like,
That's the hope part.
no, that's that hope part.
Yeah.
So I think, the more we're making these opportunities and the more we listen, the more we'll learn.
I love that you haven't taken a one-size-fits-all approach. Everyone needs something a little bit different, where a lot of people might be similar, but the different age groups, they might need a little different way to go about it, which is nice. Where else can people find information if they were looking for it, or kids or adults?
Yep, so if they want to go on to the Breakthrough website, which is breakthroughfoundation.org.au, we have everything that's there that's in relation to the programs we do, through to the research that's been funded and the narratives and the stories that sit behind. If they want to get involved, we're a not-for-profit organisation. We don't receive any state or federal funding to support the research work we do. We do get support with them on the Farmers Programme, which is brilliant, and had some fabulous support through 𝑃ERSA, which has enabled us to actually roll the programme across 7 different community groups across South Australia. But we have people doing incredible things. So we've got businesses that are doing campaigns like this. We've got people who are, like this this year. Susannah's going to be doing Kokoda Trek with 40 other people.
Want to come?
So yeah, we've got plenty of spaces if people want to come and join us
That's
on that.
fantastic.
We've got 9 runners doing the New York Marathon, but you don't have to do a big thing like
Yeah.
that. You can just have your friends around, gold coin collection, or going to
just going to X Convenience and grab 2 bottles for $7, and you're doing your part. You know what I mean? It's all appreciated. Every little bit counts. John, Susannah, thank you so much for your time, guys. Come out, check out Breakthrough Mental Health if you want to learn more about or find the different things they do. Cheers.